Maybe my story will encourage someone. Sometimes, leaders don't want to share their vulnerability, and it's always very good to let people know what you have gone through in life and how God has brought you out of those crisis moments. There was a time in my life that I had severe problems and crisis. No income, no money, no job, no family support. My mom had just passed away at a very tender age, and I was in a foreign country. It was hell. No, it's much more difficult to go up in life and then to crash than to never go up at all. So people who have risen to certain levels of their career, if they lose their job or if they lose their business and they crash, it takes the grace of God for them to come out of that situation. But for someone who has never risen up, all that he knows is where he is or where he has been. No, it's pretty much very easy to manage such situation. I had worked with a global organization. I had received money. I had been given a lot of opportunities. No, I'd had some very good times. God had opened doors to me, and but everything just went away. My mom passed away. In fact, my former fiancée at that time, and I were having tensions and were having issues, and things were upside down. It was the end of the world for me. I stayed in a tiny room. That room is like a quarter of my kitchen now today. And I sat down there that night looking at my life. What kind of a life is this? Is this the end of my life? And the Lord spoke to me. I had $20, equivalent of $20 in my account. Equivalent of $20, about 15 or $20, which I saved at least to be able to eat for the next 1 week. And the Lord spoke to my heart. Go and give this money to a church. He told me the church's name. The pastor did not know about it. Nobody cajoled me. Nobody forced me. Nobody manipulated me. This was a personal revelation, which is why I always encourage Christians not to be carnal. You won't know the day you will need the voice of God. You won't know. So if you live on carnality, you live in sin, you do whatever you like, the day you need to hear the voice of God, you won't hear anything. And you don't know what can depend on the voice of God. You don't know what can depend on it. Your whole life might depend on that one voice. And thank God that He had helped me to develop my walk with Him. And I was very matured, very sound. I could hear God when I pray. This was more than 2 decades ago. And the Lord spoke to me, go and give that money to a church. I walked to that place because I should have taken part of that money for transport. I mean, just to take a taxi. It was a long distance journey, but I walked because I didn't want to disobey God. The money was $20, equivalent of $20, equivalence of $20. So if I took $2 from it, it will reduce it to $18. When I got to the church, it was around 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. So I knocked the door. The sexton, the church cleaner, opened the door and he asked who I was. And I told him, don't worry, I want to give this money as an offering. What is your name? So that we can call you. Or I said, no, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. And I walked back home. While I was walking back home, the devil began to torment me. Foolish man, stupid man, you will suffer hunger. I grieved as I walked home. I got to the house, there was nothing to eat. There was no money. The second day, I was calling a friend, calling people. Can I come and visit you? Can I come and check you up? Because I didn't have any food at home. But I knew I had obeyed God and I had peace in my heart. 3 weeks after, I got a letter from the British High Commission in Lagos, Nigeria. Apparently, I had applied for a student visa 2 years before that time and they refused me. In fact, they banned me. Now, you need to understand how miraculous this story is. The agent that submitted my profile, my application to the British Embassy in Nigeria, used a forged account statement without my knowledge. In fact, I wanted to arrest him with the police because he didn't tell me he was going to do that. So the British High Commission banned me for 5 years, I think 5 or 7 years, or thereabout. 2 years later, I got a letter from them. They changed their mind. They said, the visa you applied for that we refused. That I didn't believe it because they called me from Nigeria that you have a letter from the British High Commission that says it's scam. I was banned. The ban will expire in 5 years' time. I was telling them. And I said, okay, let me go and send an email to them. So I went to send an email. The second day, they replied me and said, dear sir, when God wants to honor you, they will use sir for you. Please bring your passports and come to our High Commission. Oh my goodness, I nearly collapsed. That was how God turned my life around. I left this country, went back to Nigeria. And about 2 weeks later on, my brother called me and said he got another letter for me again. That a school in the UK had applied for scholarship, had awarded scholarship to me, £4,000 scholarship. Everything began to fall in line. That was how my life was transformed. I got to the UK. The week I got to the UK was the week they were flying all the MBA students to France for an all expense paid training. God arranged it that it would be that time. And then I was enlisted among the team and they flew me to France, lodged me in an hotel. I was there for almost 2 weeks, trained, fed. I didn't pay a dime, free of charge. My life turned around. I don't know what you are going through. Don't listen to the voice of the devil that it is over for you. I have been there. God will restore you. Be hardworking. Be spiritual. Don't cut corners. Don't help God. Don't give back to Ishmael. Waiting on God is not wasting your time. He will come through for you. God bless you.